Hi, I'm James from TechDev, and today we're going to talk about malware and answer some frequently asked questions. Is your computer acting strange? Do you have unwanted pop-ups? Like your browser not taking you to where it asks? Are your fans spinning loudly? Computer behaving strangely? You have files disappearing from where you put them? All of these could be the symptoms of malware, and we can go over some of that today to show you how to detect when you have malware in your system and some of the most frequently asked questions about malicious software. So I'm going to go over some frequently asked questions in this video, basically how to tell when you have it based on your computer's behavior, a few of the things not to do, and then also going to briefly go over the two most popular programs that are used, which are Malwarebytes and Windows Defender. But other than that, today's just going to be a very brief overview of some of the most frequently asked questions about malware. I'll also be demonstrating how to remove programs and how to determine the usage of system resources on your system. I also wanted to say that not all malware is created equal. Every user of every skill level will eventually encounter malware and accidentally infect their system with it. It's just a rite of passage of having a computer that's connected to the internet. All right, so here's some frequently asked questions about malware. I downloaded malware, but I didn't run it. Am I going to be okay? The answer is yes. Typically, if all you've done is downloaded it and you haven't ran it, you're going to be okay. This also includes if you clicked on it and then if you got a warning saying, hey, this is probably malware, you shouldn't run it, and you clicked, okay, I'm not going to run it, you'll also probably be okay. So malware is typically only dangerous once it's been executed or it's been given permission to operate on a system. The way that computers work is that your computer won't run things unless you allow it to. And then once malware runs, it's going to set itself up to run on boot and be difficult to detect and basically run forever. So basically you give it an inch and it takes a mile. But if you never give it that inch to run, you'll be okay. So how do you know if you have malware? There is no 100% surefire way to know if you have malware or not. No antivirus or anti-malware program is perfect, and sophisticated malware can completely hide itself. Typically, the answer to an unexpected event on your computer is not that you have malware, but if there is malware on your computer running, it is there for a reason and it is doing something. It's not just laying there lying dormant. If you downloaded it and ran it, it's going to be doing something you don't want on your system. And a lot of the times, some of these malwares will just hide. They will do everything to show you that they are not there doing anything while, recording your passwords. What are the signs of malware? One of the most common signs and easily detectable is your antivirus or anti-malware tells you. You'll receive warnings from your operating system or from a third-party program saying threats have been detected and that you should look into them. Now, often you're going to have things that are called a false positive. You'll receive these for certain programs. For example, if you play video games and you download mods from unverified developers and those mods modify your game files, you'll receive a warning saying, hey, this file is from an unverified developer modifying, other files on your computer. So if you download something and you know that you trust its source, you still might receive malware notifications, but not every warning about malware is guaranteed to be malware. Another sign that you have malware is you have unwanted pop-ups on your system, things that you didn't ask for. Pop-ups when you're visiting websites, browsing Google. Basically, you get pop-ups all the time, no matter what you're doing. Getting a pop-up while you're not even browsing the internet is guaranteed malware. And a lot of these pop-ups will be the more seedy type, whether they be for adult content or they're for, they try to convince you that you already have a virus and you need to download more stuff, or they pretend to be from Apple or Microsoft and you didn't contact Apple or Microsoft. That's how you can tell that you have malware, is you'll have adverts that pop up that are usually seedy or they're trying to trick you. Another sign is that your files become encrypted or you become unable to open the files on your system, specifically your desktop or documents. That's a sign of ransomware. Another sign of malware is that you get redirects in your browser. You go to google.com and instead of being brought to Google, it brings you to a different site. Or if you go to, Facebook.com, and it instead brings you to a website selling watercraft. That's another sign that you have malware. It hijacks your browser, and instead of going to where you're telling it to go, it takes you to random web pages. Typically, these are another form of advertising. It's just a way to try to drive traffic to websites. Another sign is that your CPU or GPU or hard drive are running at 100% capacity all the time. So what I'm going to do now on our demo computer is I'm going to show you how to tell basically how hard your system is working and if it's all working at 100%. Okay, so the first step to doing this is on your keyboard, you're going to hold down Control, you're going to hold down Alt, and then you're going to press Delete. So what this is going to look like on your computer is you're going to get this option. You're going to choose between these few things on the menu. You're going to select Task Manager. And then, as you can see up here on the right, you have memory and CPU. We can make this a little bit bigger. Yeah, I see you have disk, network, memory, and CPU. Any of these being at 100% is a sign of malware. However, if you just have a very old, slow computer that just struggles anyway, your numbers might be higher than mine. But typically something that's locked at like a 100 to 99% all the time usually means something is up. So while this list is fairly comprehensive, there are types of malware where it's not going to be detected doing anything like this. I've actually seen some pretty clever malware where once it detects that you open the task manager and start viewing system resources, it reduces how much system resources it uses so that you don't see it. Even though it is using those resources, the second you check it, it can tell that you're checking and hides. So that's just an example of how sophisticated this type of software can be and that not everything can be detected. So how do you find malware on your system? Well, your antivirus and anti-malware programs should be checking at all times, checking every file you download and every storage device you plug in. You should have some pretty good real-time protection just from that alone. You can also, using those programs, run a full scan of your system. A lot of the times they'll be scheduled to run at night or early in the morning when you're not using it. And those full scans will be a little bit more comprehensive in checking more things like temporary files and other places that malware likes to hide. The final way, this is kind of what I do, is I'll go through the installed programs list. I'll show you guys that in a second. And I'll go down the list and see if there's any programs that I don't recognize that look like they are probably malware. So what that looks like over here is going to this start menu. Anywhere you can find a search bar, you go add or remove programs. And then we go through the list. This is a list of all your programs. You look for stuff that you don't expect to have. Typically a new PC from HP or from any major manufacturer, they're going to pre-install a bunch of what I call bloatware. That's not malicious. It's just, stuff you don't really want. So all of this looks like stuff that we want to have. I will take an image of some of the most popular malware that you can find here, specifically like Adware and stuff like that. I'll show an image of that next. So here's an example from a website I found. It's just got a list of all the most common names used for adware. They like to use names like free YouTube toolbar, fun moods toolbar, gadget box search, price peep. They just have, names where they look fairly benign, but there's just something off about them. I don't know how to explain it, so I just wanted you guys to see it, to show you what you could be looking for. You can use the URL at the top too. If anything that you see, you can Google it and it'll tell you if it's adware or not, because other people will find it. See, so Xfinity search, that's pretending to be Comcast. So they're pretty tricky. I just wanted guys to show you an example for what to look out for. So what shouldn't you do, or what are the common pitfalls that people try to do when they have malware that just doesn't work? One of the things that I don't recommend is trying to manually find the malware. A lot of the times people will start going through the processes on the taskbar, processes on the task manager. They'll go through like the Windows 32 file. They'll start browsing the file tree manually, looking for stuff. And that's not really going to be effective. That's not really where the malware hides. The malware is going to be hiding inside of the files that already exist. Basically, you're not going to find it. It's much more sophisticated than you could ever be manually searching. So doing anything like that is generally a waste of time. Mostly what will happen if you do this is you'll just become paranoid. You'll think that every file that you have in System 32 is a virus. You might start deleting stuff. You can break your system, set it up so that, break your system in a way that the next time you reboot, you will not be able to make it to the desktop. You'll have to repair, or you might lose important data, be unable to boot your system. I also don't recommend downloading more than the antiviruses. You can try the ones that we have listed here. You might want to try 2 or 3 other ones, but don't just start running, download and run, download and run, download and run. There's not really a point. They all use the same underlying detection methods. They just basically compare it to a list of known viruses and behaviors, and then they compare those. They basically have symptoms, and they check your computer for those symptoms. And if you're going to be detected by one program, you're going to be detected by all of them. And the same way, if a malware is undetected by one of the most popular programs, it's not going to be on the other ones either. There's also a really popular website called VirusTotal. You upload your files to it, and that website will tell you if that file is infected with or is malware or adware. Don't upload your entire system library to that website. It won't help you. And even if it does tell you that that file is infected, there is not really much you can do with it. Even me, as somebody who's an advanced technician, I wouldn't know how to go toe-to-toe with malware without these tools like Malwarebytes or the other tools that I'm about to list. But actually manually going against them using like command line interface or something like that, it's not really possible. And finally, what I recommend is after you've spent a few hours, maybe 2 or 3 hours trying to remove the malware, you through these steps. If you're still stuck or it still doesn't work, I would just recommend doing a clean install. There's kind of like the law of diminishing returns with these types of endeavors, where after a certain amount of time, it's like, okay, just spend 45 minutes doing a clean install and re-download the drivers and you'll be fine. That will remove, with few exceptions, everything. So if you have some really, really sticky malware that just keeps coming back or you just can't get rid of it, visit us at techdev.com, fill out a support ticket, probably contact you same day or next day. We can help with removing ransomware or getting your system back up and running. Something called disaster recovery. We can even walk you through running a clean install or trying to save your files on the infected machine. We can also go over some remedial steps, such as changing all of your account passwords and just anything else that we need to walk you through to keep you safe online. So again, that is techdep.com, tekdep.com. Thanks again for watching. And if you like the video, give it a like. Want more content like this, go ahead and subscribe. And you should also have some panels showing some other videos that we think you might like based on this content. Thanks again for watching.